3 sides left in the competition in all 5 grades, and it is preliminary final weekend for the GOTAFE Goulburn Valley Netball League, and it is over a third podcast. Michael Van Dorsser with Georgia Gattuso tonight. Georgia, a very good evening to you. How are you going?
I'm not too bad, thanks, Michael. Getting very tired though. It's getting towards the end of term of school and the end of final series, so body's feeling it a little bit.
I was going to say it is definitely getting towards that end of term, end of season feels about it all, and 3 sides now left in the competition, and I think they're all pretty much on par with where we're probably expecting as we entered the final series.
Yeah, definitely. We were having a conversation at training tonight and just spoke about how quickly the season's gone and what we're going to do after the season. But you're so right. Those 3 teams that are left are pretty much the top 3 in each of the grades, which is phenomenal to see.
Do we divulge into the postseason plans at the Cattery?
Not yet. Still on track for obviously another couple of grades making the grand final to join our 17s. But yeah, you don't really get a break anymore. You get that month or so off, and then it's pretty much into trials and then a bit of preseason. Then before you know it, it's Christmas, and then you start again.
Unbelievable. The what do they call it? The athlete's life, isn't it? It's just that that 1 month off, pretty much in between seasons,
Yeah.
and then you keep going again and see how things go. Hey, first of all, before we go too deep, congratulations. You're coaching in a grand final. How, first of all, has it sunk in? Second of all, how are you feeling?
Yeah, I think it has sunk in. I did coach in a grand final last year in the 15s. However, we unfortunately lost that one. But to coach alongside Bree again to get into the 17s grand final, I'm not sure. I don't think it has sunk in yet. The girls, they're just ecstatic, but they show no emotion. They're just they're happy, they're excited, but then they're just like, oh yeah, well, it's just another game, which is amazing for them, given
That's
they're
an.
so young. But
I
yeah.
was going to say that's an unbelievable attitude to have
Yeah,
at that young age.
absolutely. We've got some very talented girls who have probably played multiple grand finals before. Aren't they lucky? They don't come around very often.
No,
However,
congratulations to them.
yeah, they're taking it on full board and taking it on with stride. So very proud of them. They were well deserved winners on the weekend, I feel. It was such a tough competition, but yeah, I'm really proud of them and excited to see what they can do in the grand final.
It was a 9-goal win for your girls against the Shepparton Swans, and they pretty much got it out in the second quarter. I think it was a 5-goal margin at halftime. That's pretty handy.
Yeah, it was. And then heading into the third quarter, I think we ended up getting up by about 12 or so. And then obviously it was hot on
Mm.
Saturday. They were starting to get a bit tired. We made a few more rotations just to get girls on and off the court as well, just to conserve a bit of energy where we could. And yeah, Shep Swans, to their credit, I reckon they played a full 50 minutes of tough competitive netball. It was just that lapse in that third quarter. However, they go again this week to see if they can make it to play us again.
That they do. Also, the 15 and unders. I quickly touch on them at Maroopna. It was a hard fought game. This one went right down to the wire, and it was a 1-goal loss in the end, or a one. We'll look at it from the good point of view, I suppose. The Shepparton
Yeah.
Bears with a 1-goal win, and did that one go? No, it didn't quite go into overtime. It was a goal in the final moment.
Yeah, it was. I was frantically refreshing the live scores in the car because I didn't
Yep.
make it quite there, unfortunately. Yeah, I spoke to the coaches after the game and they spoke about how, the girls, that it was just the pressure in that last quarter. Bears came back with unbelievable pressure and just turned over ball and to their credit scored off it. And yeah, the girls had a 4-goal lead in the third going into the fourth quarter. So yeah, credit to the Bears for fighting back and winning that one.
And Echuca are the first ones through in that one after they beat Mansfield. Do you think we're going to see a rematch? Mansfield gets past Shep. Do you in the preliminary final this weekend?
Yeah, look, I was watching Mansfield on Saturday, and for 15 and unders, they are amazing. That match between Echuca and Mansfield was one of the highest quality netball matches I've seen. Yeah, I really think that Mansfield were going to get over top of Shep, and it's going to be another rematch of Echuca Mansfield. And I'm not sure. I have a feeling it could swing Mansfield's way in the grand if that was to go the grand final. I think yeah, they just pipped them at the end, but yeah, it was very competitive.
Well, they've played each other 3 times already this year, Echuca and Mansfield, and it's been Echuca all the way. So at this point in time, but you'd think the extra sort of time that the Mansfield players play on court, they're just getting better and better each time they go out there. I mean, given in we did want to have a chat, try and have a chat with them in regards to seeing how things were going, and because it's fantastic to see. I think to see the Mansfield girls, or the Eaglettes, I think I'm calling them, the young. Oh wait, no,
Love it.
no, it's the Swans is the signet. Yeah. Anyway, the young Eagles flying so high, and they're doing a really good job with it. It's great, great to see how they're going, and hopefully we get to see them grand
Yeah,
final day.
absolutely. It would be great to see.
Take nothing away from the Shep Bears. I understand that and all that. So,
No.
but that'll be an interesting one to keep an eye on across the way as well.
Yeah.
Any surprises out of the weekend for you?
Oh, I am probably a little bit surprised with the big margin in um, semi-final two between Euroa and Rochester in B grade.
Yep.
I didn't think that Euroa would beat Rochester by a 14 goal margin.
Mm-hmm.
I was there watching, sussing out who, if we won, who we might play.
Funnily enough.
Yeah. And yeah, it really shocked me because the scoreline absolutely did not reflect the game and how competitive and tough it was out there.
Mm-hmm.
I looked up at the score. It is quite low scoring, actually, 39 goals to 25 goals. I think that's pretty low scoring in a
Mm.
B grade match in itself. But yeah, when I was looking up at the scoreboard at the end of the game, I thought, oh, I didn't actually believe that it was 14 goals. However, funnily enough, it was. But yeah, I think that was my biggest surprise.
Yeah, very bit defensive struggle between the two sides there. 14 goals, as you said, 39 to 25. Tough result in a lot of ways, and just very interesting to see the sides and how they matched up. It's going to be fascinating to see what happens next. Well, this week with you guys in Rochester, personally, but and then obviously see what happens with Euro and whichever side they play.
Yeah, definitely. And, Euroa are proving why they deserve to be in the grand final because they are such a well put together, structured team with lots and lots of experience. So, yeah, whoever comes up against them in the grand final, it's going to be tough.
It will be very much so. We got to touch on the two A grade games. We called both of them with Jacqui last week. I'm pretty confident in saying that it was a mid court struggle in the Marupna Echuca one that was ebbing and flowing left, right, and centre. In the end, it was Echuca by 2 goals, and I'll get to it in a moment. But Euroa 74 to 60 over Shepparton. I think Jacqui was saying it was going to be scores in the 60s. I think I went with the 70s or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's unbelievable the amount of goals that they put on.
Absolutely. And I was just talking to this with our coaches tonight, saying that watching that game, putting the goals on the board, it was just a shootout, absolute shootout between the two attacking ends. And I think where they got most their turnovers was in the midcourt. Their
Yep.
midcourt was defensively turning ball over, especially Euroa, obviously turning over more and capitalizing on that. So, but yeah, to score 74 goals in a final is amazing. And to look at it, Olivia Morris scoring 47 of those and Mia scoring 27. So they're sort of, Olivia Morris is still taking on the bigger workload with 47, but then you look to Shep and Kim Borges scored 54 as opposed to Sophie Harmer, who scored 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've spoken about that a couple of times, and it's a phenomenal imbalance of the way things work, and I think it was great insight though from Jack last week about it too, in regards to, and if you haven't, obviously go back and have a listen to what she had to say, but just to see what the work has to be done outside off the court outside the goal circle to try and get that ball in. Interesting little stat for you, Georgia. You know how much I love me stats. Mia Sudamorski's highest amount of goals that she scored since round 7 against Rochester. That was on the weekend.
Oh, wow.
So
really?
She's that was her high. I went back and had a look, and it's the highest since that round 8 game against Rochester, where I think hang on, she scored. Where did it go? I do have it 41
wow.
goals back then. So but in the last 3 games before of the weekend, she'd only scored single figures, 8, 8, and 6. So
there you go.
it was an interesting one. I wonder whether it was something that Ali Warnock and the coaching prowess had to say to try and get more output out of her for that.
Yeah, and look, she's an unbelievable shooter. She could pop them up from anywhere in the goal circle, and 9 times out of 10 they're going to go in. So yeah, pop them up while you can.
Might as well. We look forward to seeing what happens. I was going to say this weekend. Not going to happen this weekend. It is. Euroa is playing this weekend.
Yeah.
Michael, get your head in the game. It is A grade complete. I was going to A grade complete deja vu.
I know.
My brain is spinning.
It's pretty crazy, isn't it? We said, well, the A graders were saying we were in this position last year. We did the same thing. So let's just go that one step further.
They need it.
I hope that they can.
Yeah. It's going to be an interesting one on the weekend because, like we said, they were exactly the same spot last year, and it's just it hasn't changed anything. I think is the way the best way to say it.
Yeah, and Echuca finishing 3rd last year. Marupna and Euroa were switched on the ladder last year. Euroa being 1st, Marupna being 2nd. However, same situation. We played Euroa last year, won all the games, won the 1st final, lost the 2nd final against them. Same thing this year. Won whenever we've played them throughout the season, won the 1st final. Hopefully it doesn't get to losing the 2nd final, but yeah, it's pretty crazy to think that same top 6 and then pretty much the same play out of the finals. So it just proves that that top 6 is pretty strong.
Except Tat and Shep swapping around.
Yes. Yeah.
Last year, for those playing along at home, it was Euroa by 4 goals in the preliminary final. That was after they beat Tatura by 7. And after Echuca beat Marupna by 8 goals as well. So it was a 2-goal margin. And it's going to be closer.
It will be.
You can just tell. That's what it's going to happen in that regard as well. We didn't touch on B Reserve, but the Seymour juggernaut is continuing, and it is just keep on keeping on at the moment.
It is. They are just unbelievable, that B Reserve side. I really hope for their sake that they can do it the whole season undefeated. That would be pretty remarkable and amazing for them. But yeah, the game against Euroa, obviously a 14-goal difference there, just proves that they were too strong in that game on Saturday. So yeah, every right to be in that grand final for them to play all season undefeated and then earn their spot in the grand final.
They're doing it, and they're doing it pretty well at the moment too. I think Shona Gessler in the goal circle as well is doing a very handy job up there for the B Reserve girls.
Yes, we're trying to get Shona over to Marupna because her sister plays in our B grade side, but I don't think it's going to happen if she wins a premiership.
473 goals she scored this year. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah. I think it was a competition between her and her sister.
Yeah, and do you know how they're going? How it's going?
I think Eliza pipped her. Eliza was pretty confident on that. I think Eliza scored in the 500s, I reckon.
Ooh,
I'm getting it up.
670.
670.
Yep. She's
No,
up to
608.
Oh, okay.
Oh, is that right?
I've got sitting in front of me 670 at the moment. So
Oh, well, there you go. So yeah, she's sorry, Shona, but she's overtaken you.
well, we won't say it's the zippy mid quarters and all that sort of stuff at Marupna for that one.
No, not at all.
Hey, we've got a big night coming up on Monday night. Now, hopefully next week, I'm hoping that we can talk to possibly a Wellman Family Medalist on the podcast. I'm going to do my best to try and work that
your
out
magic, Michael.
on Monday night and see what we can come up with. But it's going to be an amazing night, and I think it's going to be. We've seen how tight the ladders have been throughout the season, and even the back end of the season when we started doing this show. I think we're going to see some really tight vote counts, to be perfectly honest.
I think so. Our competition between all 5 grades is absolutely tight. And we were having a chat off air, Michael. When you're playing a pretty successful team with lots of good players, I find it's very hard because you all steal votes from one another. I shouldn't say steal, but you all.
That's true.
Yeah, you all collectively just have votes. You know, someone might have played a better game than you this one, and vice versa. And it just maybe it goes around 4 or 5 of you in that team, or even 2 of you in that team. But even then, you could play in a really high scoring team or a high up on the ladder team and have that 1 or 2 that's poll really well and beat everyone else. But yeah.
Now, we know best and fairest awards for footballers are generally midfielders awards as a general collective. Where do the best and fairest generally come out of netball? Now, I know in the last 3 years, I think there's been a couple of goalers, and then last year was a defender. What do you think? Is it a mid quarters award, or is it a goals award? Which way do you see the medals going?
Yeah, it's tricky. I wouldn't say it's definitely a mid-quarters award, as it is in football. I think it's more an ends award, so either your goaling or defensive end. Very lucky if you're a mid-quarter going in there and getting votes. I think it's proves that you're providing a lot for your team, and they're so supportive, and the umpires are recognizing that. But I think it flows so quickly through the mid-court that you don't even have time to look at it.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're, and this is just me speaking, my opinion.
Yep.
If you're an umpire looking at both ends, obviously defenders turn over lots of ball, and goalers obviously shoot lots of ball. So their movement, you're constantly watching that.
Yep.
I find that it's probably easier to watch both ends of the court as opposed to the mid-court. Yep. But yeah, it's not entirely true that it's just a defenders or goalers award. We did have a few mid-quarters win it in previous years. But yeah, I'm not really sure how it's going to go this year. Who might even be up in that top 5? Like, as we said, it's really tight and close for all the grades. So yeah, we'll wait and see.
So just having a look at last year's, the 15 and under one was won by Rani Hendy by 7 votes from Ava Pell. She's obviously now up in your grade in 17 and unders. The 17 and unders was won by Mackenzie O'Dwyer from Shep Bears. That was won by 8 votes. That's unbelievable.
Well, I've just shot myself in the foot because they're 2 mid-quarters.
Well, maybe it is at the younger age group. I'm not sure.
Maybe.
Lauren Murray won B reserve last year by 4 votes from Kylie
Gola.
Walker and Echuca. There we go. Jamie Dingwall from Rochester winning that one in B grade from Charlotte Gray.
Pretty sure she's a goaler, I'd like to say.
And Sarah Sokulski after the recount won A grade.
So defender.
obviously a defender. So you do get a bit of ebbing and flowing.
You get a bit of variety, yeah.
Yeah. So
sorry, you go.
I was just gonna ask you, who are some of the better players I suppose you've seen this year through your involvement in coaching, and also possibly either at Marupna or elsewhere, that we could be keeping an eye out for, and even in B grade or some of the other grades that you might think, even A grade, if you wanted to throw a couple of darts at the board.
I can give it my best shot. I'm probably not going to be on the ball with most of them. Look, at A grade, obviously, I think Liv Morris has to be up there, surely. With the amount of goals she's putting on that board and how Euro was feeding her, I think she's got to be up there. In B grade, I think probably the likes of Grace Warnock. She's amazing on that court. She turns over so much ball and does so much work defensively for Euroa. B reserve, I would think probably Shona Gesler. I think I saw on Seymour's page that she might have been invited.
Yep.
So she would be one that would be up there, obviously, putting goals on the board.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. 17s, it's a bit of a tricky one.
Because it comes into who's been playing for most of the year too, doesn't it, in 17s? Because sometimes the 17s are the first ones picked to play B grade or A grade, aren't they?
Yeah, yeah. And I know that we've done that a lot with our 17s as well. I would think maybe like a Michaela Finn from Bears. I think she's been pretty spot on. She's unstoppable in that goal circle. Even from Swans, I would say is it Brianna Turner? She's quite good in the goal attack role. 15s, I would have to say Kate Head. I watched her from Echuca. She was amazing. She was very hard to stop.
So she played, I'm pretty sure she played Interleague too, didn't she, Kate?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. And watching her on the court, she attacks so well for Echuca, and yeah, she's very, very tricky to stop. I also think though Marley Collar from our under 15 side, I think she would do quite well. However, I don't know who's particularly been invited and who hasn't. Yeah, I think those names are probably the first ones that come to me.
Fair enough.
Any that you know? Or you would think?
I think probably, yeah, I reckon Liv Morris is probably a good shout, to be perfectly honest. I know there's a you talk about, and that's why I try to figure out, is it more of a mid-quarters award, or is it a shooters award, or is it a defenders award? I mean, there's been a huge amount of goals being scored from so many, like even Ash Lancaster and Kim Borger and all that. Whereas like you go to Echuca and it's been a fairly even performance, you think, from the same 7 all the way through. So I probably am sitting there ruling out anyone from Echuca to win the Wellman medal. If I'm being completely honest, I think there's been standout performances across the board. So it could be any of those, to be perfectly honest. I mean, I was going to throw your name up for B grade just purely because you and I are doing this, and I'm sure the umpires have been listening. So that's not a problem.
I didn't get invited, unfortunately.
Well, there goes that throw at the stumps.
I'll be watching very closely to see where I missed out.
Well, we'll figure that out anyway. I think, I think it'll be a great night, and I think I'm hoping that we're going to see some really tight tussles across all grades, and it's the way that they work. The way that it works, I think, is fantastic. I mean, we talk about, like you were talking before about the teams that have been very successful this year. Like even Seymour in B reserve, like surely you mentioned Shona, but surely do they get a Gaye Eaton medal out of it because of the success that they've been having as a squad? We don't know. And then there's always one or two that throw up some really interesting, like there's people that come from the clouds and you sit there and go, hang on, How did that happen?
Yep. You always watch and go, oh, they've just jumped up there.
Exactly. So, and especially with
Yeah.
the B reserve 17s and 15s, when you don't actually see every vote counted and you just see the
Yeah.
leaderboards for the first first 12 rounds. And then you see
Do they do that?
I think
Oh,
that's the way
yeah.
they do it. They do the leaderboards at like, I think like round 6 and then round 12. And then they only count
Yeah.
the 3 votes after that.
From that. Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
which I mean, they've still got up there the 1 and the 2, but at the same time, you're not consciously making note of it.
Yes. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's an interesting night, and I think it'll be very exciting. So hopefully we can have a chat to the Wellman medalist on next week's podcast.
Fingers crossed.
That's my goal. That is my goal.
Work that magic, Michael.
I'll see what I
Work
can
that
do.
magic.
The phone will be running hot Monday night into Tuesday at
You
least
will.
anyway.
I'll be messaging you.
Quick, get them.
Get them.
I don't want to keep you too much longer, and I don't want to keep our listeners too much longer because I'm sure they're excited about what's coming up. Preliminary finals weekend. We've sort of touched on it a little bit, but just to go over it, it's all at Deakin Reserve. It's going to be an absolute ripping day for everyone. I would not be surprised if we see a couple of overtimes.
Mm-hmm.
I'll mention that now, and then you can kill me on next week when you see me, because
as long as it doesn't affect me, then I'm fine.
Dear, way too early forecast for Shepparton. If my phone will work for me for Sunday, we're looking at a top of 18 degrees and no rain.
Beautiful.
So way too early forecast, but we'll see how that goes.
We'll see. Yeah.
So 9:15 is the first one. Mansfield taking on Shepparton. We're kind of hoping for Mansfield, aren't we?
Just quietly. Sorry, Shep Bears, but I am quietly hoping that Mansfield can make the grand final. Wouldn't that just be amazing for them?
I think it'd be great for the Mansfield club, to be perfectly honest. They've been starved of success, especially on the netball court, for so long. I'm hoping that they can make it to a grand final, and then can you imagine the mounted people coming down just for grand final day, having an absolute ball?
And I'm pretty sure that 15 start earlier on grand final day.
I reckon they would. I reckon they would.
Yeah.
I reckon it'll be about an 8:30 start. So
it'll be an early travel.
Oh, geez, that'd be fun. Shep Swans taking on Shepparton in the 17 and unders. You're probably more looking at this one from your point of view. Who do you want to take on in the grand final?
Ooh, no one more than the other. Definitely both very tough teams to come up against. However, I'm not really sure how this one will go. I do think that Shep Bears might get over top of Swans. But we'll wait and see what happens on Sunday.
This is the one you want to go to overtime, yeah?
Yeah.
Tire them out a little bit.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Fair enough. Seymour await the winner of Euroa and Rochester in B Reserve. I think that'll be a ripping game between the two, to be perfectly honest.
It will. Euroa have obviously played a lot of netball over the 3 weeks. The 1-goal win over Benalla in the first elimination final, obviously playing last week. And Rochester having a tight match against Swans. So I have a feeling it's going to be another maybe close 1 or 2 goal win to whatever side. But can't tell you who.
No, that's okay. All the best with your game against Rochester. There's some experience through that Rochester lineup. Again, we touched on it a bit last week, but this will be a really good game, I think, for both of you. A good hit out, and you'll be enjoying a nice bath, I think, after the game.
Yeah, I think so. It'll be a tough one. Finals aren't made to be easy, though. That's a good mentality to have going into it, and we know that Rochester's going to come out hard, but we're not prepared to lose, I don't think.
For sure. And then it's Marupna versus Euroa in a rematch of last year's preliminary final in A grade. I know you're going to go for Marupna in this one. Are you sitting on the bench for this one?
I probably won't know until Thursday night, but given the previous weeks, I don't think I will be. But I'm more than happy to sit on the sideline and encourage the girls and hopefully help them get over the line.
And the winner there meets Echuca in grand final day in 2 Sundays' time from where we are right now. So, hey, Georgia, it's been a pleasure as always to have a chat with you. I've got my homework for the week. I will endeavour to get our guest on next week. That is, well, I'm going to go with a best and fairest winner. I'm going to open myself up to a best and fairest winner, and then we will sort out which grade it is.
Which grade? Love it. So, good way to go. Yeah.
Hey, thanks very much again for joining us, and we will chat again next week.
Thank you.
Take care, everyone. You've been watching and listening to the GOTAFE GVL Netball podcast over